Once the world was overburdened by the unnecessary defense force of different kings, who were actually demons, but were posing themselves as the royal order. At that time, the whole world became perturbed, and the predominating deity of this earth, known as Bhumi, went to see Lord Brahma to tell of her calamities due to the demoniac kings. Bhumi assumed the shape of a cow and presented herself before Lord Brahma with tears in her eyes. She was grieved and was weeping, just to invoke the Lord's compassion. She related the calamitous position of the earth, and after hearing this, Lord Brahma became much aggrieved, and he at once started for the ocean of milk, where Lord Vishnu resides. Lord Brahma was accompanied by all the demigods, headed by Lord Shiva, and Bhumi also followed. Arriving on the shore of the milk ocean, Lord Brahma began to pacify Lord Vishnu. In the Vedic mantras, there is a particular type of prayer called Purusha Sukta. Generally, the demigods offer their obeisances unto Vishnu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, by chanting the Purusha Sukta. After all the demigods offered the Purusha Sukta prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they apparently heard no response. Then Lord Brahma personally sat in meditation, and there was a message transmission from Lord Vishnu to Brahma. Brahma then broadcast the message to the demigods. The message was, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear on the earth very soon, along with his supreme powerful potencies. And as long as he remains on the earth planet to execute his mission of annihilating the demons and establishing the devotees, the demigods should also remain there to assist him. They should all immediately take birth in the family of the Yadu dynasty, wherein the Lord will also appear in due course of time. After instructing and pacifying all the demigods, as well as Bhumi, with sweet words, Lord Brahma, the father of all the Prajapatis or progenitors of universal population, departed for his own abode, Brahmaloka. Once Vasudeva, the son of Shurasen, just after marrying Devaki, was going home on his chariot with his newly wedded wife. At that time, Kamsa, the son of Ugrasen, in order to please his sister, Devaki, had voluntarily taken the reins of the horses of Vasudeva's chariot and was driving. The procession was passing very pleasingly, and Kamsa was driving the chariot, when suddenly there was a miraculous sound vibrated from the sky, which especially announced to Kamsa, Kamsa, you are such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, but you do not know that the 8th child of this sister will kill you. Immediately, after hearing the prophecy from the sky, he caught hold of Devaki's hair and was just about to kill her with his sword. Vasudeva said, my dear brother-in-law Kamsa, you are the most famous king of the Bhoj dynasty, and people know that you are the greatest warrior and a valiant king. How is it that you are so infuriated, that you are prepared to kill a woman who is your own sister at this auspicious time of her marriage? Why should you be so much afraid of death? Death is already born along with your birth. From the very day you took your birth, you began to die. Suppose you are 25 years old. That means you have already died 25 years. Every moment, every second you are dying. Why then should you be so much afraid of death? Final death is inevitable. You may die either today or in 100 years. You cannot avoid death. Therefore, I beg to request you not to be overwhelmed by the dictation of your mind and body. Vasudeva thought of his wife as follows. For the present, let me save the life of Devaki. Then, later on, if there are children, I shall see how to save them. He further thought, if in the future I get a child who can kill Kamsa, just as Kamsa is thinking, then both Devaki and the child will be saved, because the law of providence is inconceivable. But now, some way or other, let me save the life of Devaki. Vasudeva, after deliberating on how to save his wife, began to speak to Kamsa with great respect. Vasudeva said to Kamsa, "My dear brother-in-law, please consider that you have no danger from your sister. If there are any sons born of her, I promise that I shall present all of them to you for necessary action." After due course of time, when the first son was born, Vasudeva kept his word of honor and immediately brought the child before Kamsa. Kamsa became satisfied by the action of Vasudeva. He began to speak as follows. "My dear Vasudeva, I have heard that the 8th child born of you and Devaki will kill me. Why should I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back." At that time, the great sage Narad came to Kamsa. He was informed of Kamsa's becoming compassionate to Vasudeva and returning his firstborn child. Narad was very anxious to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. He therefore informed Kamsa that personalities like Nanda Maharaj and all the cowherd men and girls, and the wives of the cowherd men in Vrindavan, and on the other side, Vasudeva, his father Shurasen, and all his relatives born in the family of Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, were preparing for the appearance of the Lord. After being thus informed by Narad about the appearance of the demigods in different families, Kamsa at once became alert. He understood that since the demigods had already appeared, Lord Vishnu must be coming soon. So, he at once arrested both his brother-in-law Vasudeva and Devaki and put them behind prison bars. Within the prison, shackled in iron chains, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year, and Kamsa, thinking each of the babies to be the incarnation of Vishnu, killed them one after another. He was particularly afraid of the 8th child, but after the visit of Narad, he came to the conclusion that any child might be Krishna. Therefore, it was better to kill all the babies who took birth of Devaki and Vasudeva. When Devaki became pregnant for the 7th time, a plenary expansion of Krishna, known as Ananta, appeared within her womb. Devaki was overwhelmed both with jubilation and lamentation. She was joyful, for she could understand that Lord Vishnu had taken shelter within her womb. But at the same time, she was sorry that as soon as her child would come out, Kamsa would kill him. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, ordered the appearance of his Yoga Maya, or his internal potency. The Lord informed Yoga Maya, "You can arrange the transfer of Shesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. After this arrangement, I am personally going to appear in the womb of Devaki with my full potencies. Then I shall appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, and you shall appear as the daughter of Nanda and Yashoda in Vrindavan." The Lord also declared to Yogamaya that his plenary expansion, Ananta Shesha, was within the womb of Devaki. He would be known as Sankarshan, and would be the source of all spiritual power, or bala, by which one could be able to attain the highest bliss of life, which is called Raman. Therefore, the plenary portion Ananta would be known after his appearance, either as Sankarshan or as Balaram. When Yogamaya was thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she circumambulated the Lord, and then appeared within this material world according to his order. When the Supreme Powerful Personality of Godhead transferred Lord Shesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, both of them were under the spell of Yogamaya, which is also called Yoga Nidra. When this was done, people understood that Devaki's 7th pregnancy was a miscarriage. After this arrangement, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who was always ready to place his full potencies in his unalloyed devotees, entered within the mind of Vasudeva. It is understood in this connection that Lord Krishna, first of all, situated himself in the unalloyed heart of Vasudeva, and was then transferred to the heart of Devaki. He was knocked into the womb of Devaki by seminal discharge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable potency, can appear in any way. It is not necessary for him to appear in the ordinary way, by seminal injection within the womb of a woman. In this way, Devaki became the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second, and the cause of all creation. At this time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narad, and followed by many other demigods, invisibly appeared in the house of Kamsa. They began to pray for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our dear Lord, the demigods prayed, it is very difficult to understand your eternal form of personality. People in general are unable to understand your actual form. Therefore, you are personally descending to exhibit your original eternal form. Somehow people can understand the different incarnations of your Lordship, but they are puzzled to understand the eternal form of Krishna, with two hands, moving among human beings exactly like one of them. Persons who have not taken to devotional service are understood to have come short of the ultimate purpose of knowledge, and are not favored by your grace. The impersonalists simply think that they are liberated, but actually they have no feeling for the personality of Godhead. They think that when Krishna comes into the material world, he accepts a material body. They therefore overlook the transcendental body of Krishna. Dear Lord, husband of the goddess of fortune, devotees who are dovetailed in your service do not fall down from their high position like the impersonalists. Dear Lord, if you did not appear in your eternal transcendental form, full of bliss and knowledge, which can eradicate all kinds of speculative ignorance about your position, then all people would simply speculate about you according to their respective modes of material nature. O Lord, the impersonalists or non-devotees cannot understand that your name is identical with your form. The demigods continued, Our dear Lord, O Supreme Controller, when you appear on earth, all the demons, like Kamsa and Jarasandha, will be vanquished, and all good fortune will be ushered into the world. When you walk on the globe, your lotus feet will impress on the ground the marks of your soul, such as the flag, the trident, and the thunderbolt. Thus, you will grace both the earth and us on the heavenly planets who shall see those marks. O dear Lord, you are unborn. Therefore, we do not find any reason for your appearance other than for your pleasurable pastimes. Dear Mother Devaki, within your womb is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing along with all his plenary extensions. He is the original personality of Godhead, appearing for our welfare. Therefore, you should not be afraid of your brother. Your son, Lord Krishna, who is the original personality of Godhead, will appear for the protection of the pious Yadu dynasty. The Lord is appearing not only alone, but accompanied by his immediate plenary portion, Balaram. When the time was mature for the appearance of the Lord, at that time, in all directions, there was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. Rivers were flowing full of waters, and lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. The forests were full with beautiful birds and peacocks. All the birds within the forests began to sing sweet voices, and the peacocks began to dance along with their consorts. The wind blew very pleasantly, carrying the aroma of different flowers. The denizens of the Gandharva and Kinnara planets began to sing, and the denizens of Siddhaloka and the planets of the Charanas began to offer prayers in the service of the personality of Godhead. In the heavenly planets, the angels, along with their wives, accompanied by the Apsaras, began to dance. The sages and the demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers. At the seashore, there was the sound of mild waves, and above the sea, there were clouds in the sky, which began to thunder very pleasingly. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who is residing within the heart of every living entity, appeared in the darkness of night as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, before Devaki, who also appeared as one of the demigoddesses. Vasudeva then began to offer his prayers. My dear Lord, I can understand who you are. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supersoul of all living entities, and the Absolute Truth. You have appeared in your own eternal form, which is directly perceived by us. I understand that because I am afraid of Katha, you have appeared just to deliver me from that fear. You do not belong to this material world. You are the same person who brings about the cosmic manifestation simply by glancing over material nature. My Lord, you are the Supreme Controller, the Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Direct, maintaining the order of this cosmic manifestation. And in spite of your being the Supreme Controller, you have so kindly appeared in my home. The purpose of your appearance is to kill the followers of the demonic rulers of the world, who are in the dress of royal princes, who are actually demons. I am sure that you will kill all of them, and the followers and soldiers. To this prayer of today, Devaki, the mother of Krishna, offered her prayer. Devaki said, My dear Lord, I can understand that you are the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Therefore, my Lord, I request you to save me from the cruel hands of the son of Ugrasen, Kamsa. I am praying to your Lordship to please rescue me from this fearful condition, because you are always ready to give protection to your servitors. While thus praying to the Lord for rescue, Mother Devaki expressed her motherly affection. I understand that this transcendental form is generally perceived in meditation by the great sages, but I am still afraid, because as soon as Kamsa understands that you have appeared, he might harm you. So I request you to conceal this four-armed form of your Lordship, which holds four symbols of Vishnu, namely the conch shell, the club, and the lotus flower. My dear Lord, at the end of the annihilation of the cosmic manifestation, you put the whole universe within your abdomen. Still, by your unalloyed mercy, you have appeared in my womb. I am surprised that you imitate the activities of ordinary human beings just to please divinity. On hearing the prayers of Devaki, the Lord replied, My dear mother, in the millennium of Swayambhu Manu, my father Vasudeva was living as one of the Prajapatis. His name at that time was Sutapa, and you and his wife named Krishna. He practiced severe austerities for 12,000 years by the calculation of the demigods. During that time, your mind was always absorbed in me when you were executing devotional service and always thinking of me within your heart. I was very much pleased with you. O sinless mother, your heart is therefore always pure. At that time also I appeared before you in this form, and I asked you to ask whatever you desired. At that time you wished to have me born as your son. On receiving the benediction from the Lord to become his father and mother, both Krishna and Sutapa retired from the days of austerity and lived with husband and wife in order to beget a child who was the Supreme Lord himself. In due course of time, Krishna became pregnant and gave birth to the child. The Lord spoke to the king Vasudeva. I gave you the benediction that I would take birth as your son 3 times. The first time I was known as Krishna Garba, born of Krishna and Sutapa. Next birth I was Indra, born of the Hindi and the Katha. And now, for the 3rd time, I am born as Krishna from you, Devaki and Vasudeva. I appeared in this Vishnu form just to convince you that I am the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, again taken birth. I could have appeared just like an ordinary child, but in that way you would not believe that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, have taken birth in your womb. My dear Father and Mother, you have therefore raised me many times as your child, with great affection and love, and I am therefore very pleased and obliged to you. And I assure you that at this time you shall go back home, back to God, on account of your perfection in your mission. I know you are very concerned about me and afraid of Kamsa. Therefore, I order you to take me immediately to Gokul and replace me with the daughter who has just been born to Yashoda. Having spoken thus, in the presence of his father and mother, the Lord turned himself into an ordinary child and remained silent. The night was very dark. As soon as Vasudeva took Krishna on his lap and went out, he could see everything, just as in the sunlight. When Vasudeva was carrying Krishna, the darkness of the night disappeared. All the prison doors automatically opened. At the same time, there was thunder in the sky and severe rainfall. While Vasudeva was carrying his son Krishna in the falling rain, Lord Shesha, in the shape of a serpent, spread his hood over the head of Vasudeva so that he would not be hampered by the rainfall. Vasudeva came onto the bank of the Yamuna. The river gave passage to Vasudeva to cross. On the other side, he went to the place of Nanda Maharaj, situated in Gokul. He took the opportunity of silently entering into the house of Yashoda. After entering the house and exchanging the boy with the girl, he returned to the prison of Kamsa and silently put the girl on the lap of Devaki. He again clamped the shackles on himself so that Kamsa did not recognize that so many things had happened. Mother Yashoda understood that a child was born to her, but because she was very tired from the labor of childbirth, she was fast asleep. When she awoke, she could not remember whether she had given birth to a male or a female child.